You can't even believe what we were talking about right before we went live. So, hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to episode number 127 of Mirrorless Minutes. Mike is home. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Crazy. I can't get used to this. This is weird.
Me
I know
either.
it's ending at some point. But, hey, Elizabeth. So this is cool. So Elizabeth is Sarah's friend, and I'm assuming you mean Sarah that came on the workshop. That Sarah, that one girl. It's funny. She's got a nickname. We have a private chat going from everyone that was on the workshop that I just concluded in the UP. And I forgot that you can give nicknames to everybody in the chat. And somebody went through and gave everybody nicknames. And Sarah is that one girl. So anyways, just want to say hi, Elizabeth. Tell Sarah I said hi if you talk to her. And we'll be talking about that. Actually, I will talk about it quite a bit on this show about how that workshop went. Okay, so we've got another person in the chat. I'm going to assume that Zim44 is Jeff, and Jeff was on the workshop as well. And he's saying hello, Big J. That was my nickname in the chat room. And we've got I ate a lot of food up there, so that might have something to do with it. And we've also got Andrew Oki here as well, and Andy was up there shooting as well. And actually, I've got a handful of his photos I'm going to share tonight. I hope he doesn't mind. It's going to be a fun show. I'm super pumped to talk about this workshop because it was just outstanding. So I guess we can. Do you want me to just jump in and talk about it because
we could
for it right now? Or
let's go for it.
All right.
Let's hear how it went.
So I did a workshop a year ago in the UP with Mark Miller. He's one of our workshop partners on Mirrorless Adventures, and decided to do something a little bit different this year. I wanted to bring on a third instructor just to kind of I want to work with Jerry Moore, Jerry James, and he was the person I brought up to work with us. So we had 3 instructors, and we changed up the format of the workshop a little bit as far as our itinerary. We didn't repeat last year's. We had a couple of overlapping stops, but we had a couple of new ones that were pretty cool that I'll share on here as well. We opened it up abnormally large. We opened it up to 15 people. I thought, well, we've got 3 instructors. If each of us take 5, that's great. The camera store that I was working with, I had kind of put the promotion side of things in their court because I was letting them run the registrations, and I was going to let them run the promotion and give them a little bit of the cut of the profits for managing that because we've been so busy this year. And I guess their social media guy that previously was working there, he's no longer there now, wasn't promoting at all. So we didn't fill up the workshop, which actually turned out really good because it was a super tight-knit group, super small, 6 people, and 3 instructors.
Yeah, so, wow.
Very hands-on. It was like having private workshop, basically, with 3 instructors. So it worked out really good. And so we toured around the UP. We photographed waterfalls and some just astounding shorelines. And it was, I really couldn't have asked for a better experience. The group that we had was great. Everybody was super gung-ho, super energetic. When the weather turned sour and we got a ton of rain on Saturday, people just stayed out and shot in it. And when we decided to break for lunch and we kind of reconfigured what we were doing, we did like an impromptu photo editing session at the Holiday Inn, which if you've been on any of our other workshops, you know that we like to sit down and talk about post-processing or image share at some point when possible. So we did that, and I think people got a lot of good takeaways from that. And actually was fielding some questions today from Zim44 in the chat room there. He installed Lightroom Fresh up there in the UP and kind of got rocking and rolling on some bracketed shots. So that was cool. I'm going to go through an image share. I've got a lot of images, so I'll probably talk fast. And if you know me, you're used to that at this point. So
I was thinking about you Saturday before you get into it. How rainy was it? Because I don't think there was a part of Michigan that wasn't raining Saturday.
Yeah, it was
everywhere.
It started off light and got progressively heavier, and it wasn't downpour, but it was very, very consistent and just did not stop. And you know, we started off at where were we at? We were at Miners Beach shooting Elliott Falls, and there was no rain, and then it started misting, and then it started drizzling, and then it started raining a little bit heavier. And then we moved from there to Wagner Falls, which we felt like we might be able to be in a more wooded area, might help shield us a bit, which it did. It helped quite a bit. Funny story about that. We were at Wagner Falls, and somebody comes up to me in our group and says, there's a lady just asking if we were part of your workshop. And I was like, oh, okay. And then turn and look, and there's a lady that I've shot with on occasion on the west side of Michigan.
Oh,
she was up on her own trip. And I said, well, hey, how you doing, Robin? And she goes, hey, Jamie, how's it going? I ran into your class, was talking to some of your class, you know, and it was funny. I mean, here I am, 300, 400 miles from home, in the middle of the woods at a waterfall, and there's somebody that knows our group and knows
that's as crazy as the San Francisco story.
Oh,
meeting somebody out there.
That was almost stalkerish, but it was super cool. It was like definitely a B-list celebrity kind of a moment. That's hilarious. I know I talked about it on an old episode.
Bob's got a good question I was going to ask you, actually. So what's the color report?
So it's funny, Bob, I was just talking with my wife about it this evening. When we were up there was very, very little color. When we went west, more towards Marquette, and then southwest of Marquette to Canyon Falls, you started to pick up a bit more color. But I'm thinking that next week is probably good. I know you've got a trip coming up, and I think that while you're up there, I think you'll be pretty good. You know, obviously, the further west you get and the further away from the lake shore you get, the better you're going to be. So I think you'll probably do pretty well up there on your trip. So.
And these cool temps are coming, boy. It's pretty cool down here, so I know it's getting worse up there.
Yeah. So you'll have fun up there, Bob. So like I said, I'm just going to do a quick image share here. I'll just try to rattle through these as fast as I can. Let me get this set up right here. Application window, boom. All right, so I'm starting off with some of my own shots. These were taken on the way up there. Part of the fun of this whole thing was driving in a truck with two of my buddies and just, you know how it is. You're with photographers. We all have the same thing in mind. It's like, holy crap, look at this abandoned house. So we swing off the side of the road and we go trunching up in the yard and we're taking photos. So this actually, to the left of this house in the image, there's a series of these little small red cabins. And I didn't share one of the red cabin images because I'll probably share those later on social, but I want to try to start sharing things I haven't shared too much online when I do the show now. So this was, I'm guessing, like the manager's home or something, but it was super fun to just get out and see this red house covered in all this red vine and just starting to be completely overgrown. This was shot with the Sony A7 II with the Samyang 14mm f2.8, the autofocus version of that. It's funny because as part of my learning process of shooting with other equipment, quickly discovered that the aspect ratio on the full frame cameras, I think it's 2:3 or 3:2, 3:2, is significantly different than 4/3. 4/3, you have a lot more headspace. It's taller. Whereas these full frame cameras are a wider aspect ratio. So when you put a wide angle lens on, it's significantly wider. So my 7-14 on my OMDs, the 14mm on the full frame is a lot wider. I was not understanding what was going on. I'm looking through the viewfinder. I'm like, holy crap, this thing is crazy wide. So I get my OMD out and I'm looking and I'm like, oh, wait, hold on. Aspect ratio. So again, this was just one of the shots that was taken along the drive. This was along Highway 2 or US 2, whatever it is up there. It kind of hugs the north part of the Lake Michigan shoreline.
Yeah, US 2.
The next one is shot along US 2 as well. This is the Cut River Gorge Bridge. It's funny, I've seen a lot of photos of this and wanted to shoot it, but the last two times I was in the UP, that stretch of US 2 was closed. So when we started approaching this area and I realized that there were no detour signs, I said, we have to stop here and shoot this. And when you're driving over it, it is the most boring bridge you've ever seen in your life. It looks just
don't know.
You don't even know that this bridge is there.
No.
And this is just one of the shots that I took. I've got a better one that I'll probably share on social that's actually taken from underneath it. You know, the cliche shot under the bridge looking down the length of it with all the symmetry. But again, another shot with the Sony A7 II and the Samyang, Samyang, not Rokinon.
Yeah, next time you got to get a shot from the top while you're driving across, just to show how boring it is. How boring it is. I know exactly what you're saying.
This location, it really doesn't look like much. And so these three shots that I'm sharing here that were shot with Sony, these are all bracketed shots, by the way. This isn't a single frame. I'm still in that habit of bracketing shots, but the bridge shot here, it was just a bracketed shot straight out of the camera. I didn't do or merged into HDR and Lightroom. I didn't do any kind of editing to that. Whereas with the shot up here of this house, I pushed the blue saturation a little bit and actually toned down the red just a fuzz. But other than that, really no very minimal editing on that. This next shot was we had started pre-scouting Paradise Cove in anticipation of taking our workshop group there. And when we went out there, the road was rough. Let's just say it was really rough. We were driving Mark's truck. He's got a 4-wheel drive F-150. And there were spots where the front bumper was in the water. If you follow me on
I saw that
book, I did a post of one of the shallower puddles. So that road, unless you have something with a lift, after all this rain, probably not very doable at all. But this is back at Paradise Cove. We were lucky enough to be able to get back there. Like I said, we wanted to pre-scout it again just to make sure it was passable to bring our group back there the next day, which unfortunately didn't happen. But again, another shot with the Sony A7 II and that Samyang 14mm f2.8. Again, another bracketed shot. So these are 3 exposures at plus or minus 2 EV each. And now I'm going to jump into workshop stuff. So this was our workshop group. And I don't know how visible my cursor is, but I'm going to try. You can see me circling the tallest guy in the group. That would be me, of course. Right there. So Mark Miller here in the red, and Jerry James over here in the flannel. But the rest of the group, that was our workshop crew. Nice and small, easy to get around, and it just made for working a lot of fun. I'm actually kind of considering sticking with smaller class sizes moving forward, to be honest with you. So this was taken at Memorial Falls. This was it was a fun location to shoot with everybody, just because I think no one really anticipated the scale of it. You know, what you're seeing in this shot is just a small portion of the big opening where Memorial Falls is. I thought it was probably a great location to take the group photo. Something to note, when I'm leading workshops, I'm always shooting with Olympus equipment. So moving forward, any images I share from here on down that are mine will all have been shot with my EM1X, which is what I kind of used all the time. So this is the EM1X, and I actually put on the 8mm fisheye just to
get the space,
everything. Yeah,
yeah. That looks like Hocking Hills, actually, a location in Hocking Hills.
Yep. So the person here on the left that I'm hovering over right here, it's Jessica, Jessie, and that's one of the first things she said. Oh my gosh, this is like Hocking Hills. So again, that was just our group photo. I had to make sure we got a group photo. I'm always terrified that I'm going to forget the group photo because I've done it before. So
we've been close.
Photo. So this next shot, this is a shot at Elliott Falls, and this is on Miners Beach, and this is Jerry working with Sarah and Jesse, talking about shooting the fall over there across the little bit of water to the right. And it's funny because I love taking people to this spot, because if you ever see photos of this waterfall, it looks big and it's very deceptive, and it's such a great lesson on teaching people how to use your a wide angle lens to change perspective and to add like a more dramatic look to it by getting up close. So that was what we focused on here. You can see Jessie here to the left of Jerry. She's shooting with a 1DX, and she's got this Sigma like 10 to 15 millimeters. So it's ultra wide. So getting everybody up super close with the wide angle lenses like that, I think is fun to watch. It kind of click, people like, oh my gosh, this actually looks big, and then you start slowing down the water and things like that. And you walk away with a really cool shot from a very unassuming location. Also along this beach, it's a favorite place to shoot too, because you can see up on the rocks up here, there are birch trees that have been washed up onto the rocks. There are birch trees and all kinds of debris on the beach that make for great foreground elements, including, again, if you follow me on social, you'll have seen a shot of what looks like a campfire. It's actually like a 6 or 7 foot tall teepee made out of driftwood on the beach. That was on this location as well. We had returned one night to try to capture the aurora. The next shot is Jerry and I working with a group of people, and this is at Canyon River Falls. This shot was shot by Andrew Oakey. He's in the chat room. Huge shout out and thanks, Andy, for shooting behind the scenes stuff. Actually, I think everybody shot behind the scenes stuff of everybody else and everything. So that's, again, one of the fun things about shooting with photographers. Everybody's kind of shooting each other. But again, here, we were working on composing a shot with nice leading lines and things like that going down the river, and then working on helping people slow down shutter speeds. Not everybody had filters and things like that available, so we were showing them how they could start working with their aperture and ISO and things like that to stretch out their exposures. Further down the river from that location you end up at like the main part of the falls here in Canyon River Falls. From this point on, the river kind of runs through like, it looks like a slot canyon in a way, as best as you can have a slot canyon in Michigan, I guess is what it is. So here's Mark working with some of the ladies on the group, setting up shots. The woman down here to the right, Christine, she is like, I think coming back from Utah, I talked about Susie Powell.
Is she your Susie Powell?
Michigan Susie. Yep, she's my Michigan Susie.
Look at, don't fall in, man.
She's right on the edge.
I know.
And it's terrifying because if you're going in that, I don't know what happens. Andy is a paramedic, so I guess maybe he could have resuscitated her. I'm not sure. We'd had to get her out first, but
yeah, I was just gonna say, you got to get her out first.
It was very turbulent, wicked, rough water. But I mean, she's safe where she was at. But still, this is adventuring. A lot of the workshops that I do, they're not tame, and I try to let that be known, in the descriptions and all that they involve hiking. It's not. We're not pulling into parking lots and then walking 20 feet and taking shots. So this is for the people who want a little bit more out of a workshop than parking lot shooting, I guess I could say. And the cool thing is everybody in this group was all about that. Like I said, Christine, she's climbing over rocks. She's climbing down rocks. She's like sitting down on ledges. I mean, she was all over the place shooting. So it was a lot of fun to have her there. So thank you, Christine, for coming along. You made it a blast. I do have a sad story from this location. At some point there, Christine lost her iPhone, and we didn't realize it until we were probably halfway back to Marquette. So we're messaging back, okay, we'll turn around, and she's having, I think maybe Andy or somebody message us in the car ahead. No. She says it's fine. She's just going to use this as an excuse to get the iPhone 11. So that's what she did. I mean, she got back to the hotel and got out her iPad and used to find my iPhone. And sure enough, it was there at Canyon Falls somewhere. And I think she just remote erased it from there, and just somebody got a phone out of the deal, I suppose. She had it insured. So she gets the iPhone 11 for cheap. So,
good deal.
But yeah, so this next shot was taken by the gentleman I was referring to earlier, Andy. Andy was a blast to work with. I met him once at Minneapolis when I was working a show there for one of the camera stores over there with Olympus. And I'd hoped to meet him the following day at that camera store event, but I had to come home for a family emergency. So I never got to meet back up with him. And then when I saw that he was coming on this workshop, it totally got me excited to be able to shoot with him. So this is one of his photos. I couldn't honestly tell you what he was using, but I'm going to guess that maybe he was using either the 7-14 or 12-100, maybe. Maybe Andy will chime in the chat room, but I think he's using the Nisi filters as well. This is also, again, from the Canyon River Falls area. The next shot is one of our workshop attendees, Oscar. Oscar was one of those people who, again, really quick to just get every single shot he could. This was his first time visiting the UP. So Andy said it was the 12-40 on that previous shot. Gorgeous shot. I've been loving watching Andy's photos come flooding in. He's been pretty quick about his editing and his sharing in our private Facebook group. So it's been great. This next shot, like I said, this is Oscar. Oscar's first trip to the UP, and he was not about to miss a shot anywhere, no matter where we're at. So where you saw Christine sitting down below, he's about 20 feet above her on a ledge up there shooting at the top of the waterfalls. And Oscar, like I said, it was his first trip to the UP, and I think he decided he was going to stay an extra couple of days after we left just to do some hiking and exploring on his own. So it can
be overwhelming. I mean, literally, I think, when you first see UP, because you think Michigan, don't think Michigan. Think something that you don't understand.
Yes, it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like the same state, and especially when you get over in this area, it's even more.
It's just remote.
It reminds me of something like you'd see in Maine or maybe the Pacific Northwest.
It is a little bit like the Pacific Northwest. I agree.
Another shot. So again, that was Canyon River Falls there, and this next shot of Oscar is after Canyon River Falls.
Cool.
We went just north of Marquette to Presque Isle and shot there the Black Rocks. Beautiful shoreline. It was super windy and super cold, but we spent a good hour and a half there shooting. And once you got out on those Black Rocks in the sun, it was actually kind of comfortable. It was really nice. So I just spent some time just kind of watching everybody just do their thing and exploring. Everybody just kind of soloed out. I mean, there was a little bit of working with people. I think Mark spent a little bit of time with a couple of the girls working, but all the guys just like, they just scattered like to the wind as soon as we got there. So I just basically chased everybody around, just shooting photos of them. This is Jeff. Jeff is Zim44 in the chat room. So Jeff's out there. He was a blast to work with, dude. He's like so high energy and just super excited about everything. It's like you show him how to do this, he's like, oh man, yes, I'm gonna do this. And then he takes what you taught him and then he starts using it like in all these different other locations too. So I'm super pumped to see see what he starts cranking out with that. It was definitely a blast. And the next shot, so this is Andy. He's the guy that was sharing all the photos with us earlier, a lot of the behind the scenes. There he is sitting up on the rocks there at the Canyon River Falls, just kind of doing his thing. I love this because he's just so deep in thought. He's just kind of, I think he's watching his exposure happen, probably in live time would be my guess. Again, I'm just guessing here. So if Andy wants to correct me on that, please do so. And something tells me in my head, I want to imagine that when I shot this shot, Andy was shooting this shot. And there's probably a decent chance that that's actually happening. And if it didn't, you can fib Andy and just say, I'm shooting the same shot you were shooting here. So, again, this gives you an idea of the beauty of the location that we went to. And this is probably going to end up on next year's workshop in the UP as well. At least this stop for sure.
That's really just nice.
A little teaser. The workshop that I'm going to do in the UP next year, we're probably going to base camp in Marquette, which is close to this area and where Presque Isle is, and then kind of move out from there to some new locations. And this last shot, another one of Andy's shots, just I love shots like this. It was windy and wavy and cold, and Andy sat out there on the rocks for a while. And when I saw this land in the Facebook group, I think it was today that if it didn't land today, I noticed it today. And I thought, oh my God, this is why he was patient and just waited, let that exposure run forever, because shots like this just have that ethereal, magical feel to them. And like I said, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh my God, this is like,
that's why that shot's like
the best.
That's exactly what we're saying too about the UP. I mean, that shot's not a lower peninsula Michigan shot.
No,
I can't think of many places like that.
Not at all.
Here. It's great job, Andy.
And it's a great example of why to come on workshops like this. Because a lot of these places, people probably either don't know to go to, don't want to go to alone, or go to these places and don't know how to work in those locations. Andy's an extremely proficient photographer. He didn't need anybody telling him how to set up for a shot for stuff like that. But some of the other people on the group, one of the people on the group, she doesn't own a camera. She brought her daughter's camera. She stole her daughter's camera from her to come up to this workshop. And I'm excited to see what she got, because working with her, we were seeing what she was making. So it was impressive. And I think on an upcoming show, that's probably the goal, is I'm going to try to bring in a bunch more shots from everybody that was on this workshop. It'd be nice to get some of the Pittsburgh stuff in, and maybe some of the Utah stuff, and maybe towards the end of the year, just do a recap of what the Mirrorless adventures were like in 2019.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, that would be good to see. Yeah, we got some New York stuff in there, and we definitely could do that.
A year's worth of cool travels from one side of the country to the other to share with people. So.
Yeah, it'll be, and that'll be a good hint. Maybe that's when we reveal some of our 2020 plans.
It's funny. I started itinerary work on one today.
Yeah, good.
I'm pumped on that. And the logistics part comes next, but it's going to be, I'm just going to shut up. It's going to be cool.
I think we're going to have some cool ones for sure. So, all right. Well, let's see.
You get to talk.
Want a quick break? Okay. I don't have that much time. I don't think I have that much time that I could share. But I am going to share something different than I would never have done on any show in all 5 years. Let's see. I need this here. And okay, let's see. I don't want to show that first. So you're seeing the theater there. Let's see. How about now? Are you seeing it?
Oh, hold on. Sorry.
Okay.
That's my fault, not yours.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it said going. Okay, cool. So now we got it, right? The Opera House?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to give you, let's see how many I have 6 photos to share. All 6 are with the new iPhone 11 Pro Max. I just said, you know what? Why not? Let's put it out there. It's mirrorless. I'm positive about that.
Oh yeah.
And I just got it going last week, and my wife and I actually did one of these unusual things that I suggest everybody really do, and that is to get out and stay in your own city sometime.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we did. We spent an entire weekend down in Detroit. And the first day we went to the DSO, the Detroit Symphony Orchestra, and you're probably thinking, "Wow, you're really a culture guy, Mike." I didn't realize that. I'm not. This was to see the DSO play "The Empire Strikes Back."
Oh
So
wow. Cool.
the screen here that you see down in here, the entire movie plays here, "The Empire Strikes Back," while the orchestra is playing. So it's like the best sound system you've ever heard because
You're
it's
kidding.
live. It's so awesome. I can't
Oh,
even
dude.
explain how awesome it is. I mean, that movie, I've always loved any of those first 3 for sure. And I love
Yeah.
that movie. But when you see it with that orchestra in the orchestra hall, and it's, oh my God. So anyways, I'm getting too much into that. But anyways, this was the first day, and you're in that kind of place. So we've got to try that ultra wide lens. And that's a shot here. And really, the only thing that's really lit right now is the stage. And I mean, you could see some of that, but the I guess the way it treated the interior it wasn't dark, but it was certainly dim in here.
Right.
I was amazed at what it did, and that ultra wide is really cool.
That's incredible.
Yeah, just the things you can grab. So I can see. So of course, like I feel like I shot every shot the whole weekend in ultra wide. So the next one, my wife's probably gonna be mad that I got a picture of her in here. But so for those of you who don't know, this is not just a normal hotel. We stayed at the Shinola Hotel.
Oh wow.
Brand new. Shinola, if you know anything about Detroit and Shinola, they're a watchmaker out of Detroit. Just the most amazing watches made right in Detroit by the people in Detroit. And check them out sometime on Shinola. But they've made a hotel, and every single room is specifically different than any other one. So I think they have 145 rooms and 145 different, all very unique.
That's
and
cool.
all everything inside of them hand picked. I mean, they had turntables, a turntable in the room, $1,500. But you could buy these Bluetooth speakers. I just used them. I did not buy them. But just an amazing things. I mean, even go down to, if you see this thing, this is just a 3-plug outlet made in Ada, Michigan. They weigh about 4 pounds each, and they're made to not put behind your furniture, but put on top of your furniture. They're so cool. I mean, that's the way Shinola is, Jamie, how that is.
Yeah. Oh no.
They're just really cool. So, but again, this is ultra wide on the long side. I think my wife did like it because she goes, "Wow, I got long legs," because she's pretty short, so she really liked that.
I need that lens.
Yeah. And here's one outside the hotel. This is the Shinola Hotel.
Oh, nice. That's
again,
cool.
gloomy day. Jamie was way up north. I was down in Detroit, and this might have been a minute. It wasn't raining. But yeah, taken with the phone, with the iPhone, and it's just with that ultra wide lens, you can do a lot of different things. This one next morning in Campus Martius in Detroit. Huge building. This is where Quicken Loans is. So if any of you have, mortgages, this is where all the money's going. But they've got this great statue. That statue is about, I'm going to guess, I may be wrong, 25 feet tall. It's hard to really tell from there, but you can see the tables, how small they are in the back, and stuff. And it's just, it's a cool statue. It's called Waiting, by the artist Kaws, Kaws, like pause with a K.
Yep.
And again, the wide angle. So that was like Sunday morning. So we stayed there, and then on Sunday in the afternoon, we went and saw the Detroit Lions, and they actually played really good. And anybody that's a Lions fan, knows, wait, when did that happen? I mean,
Once
they
a
were
season.
playing Kansas City. I mean, Jesus, a Super Bowl bound team last year. But this is a wide lens across the whole front, the main gate there at Ford Field. I've got a couple shots with the normal lens and then, zoomed in. But, look, nothing's touched up. These are the shots, the sky, everything really got a cool look to it there. And then I had to do one inside. Again, boy, I got my wife featured in these things. And you can see how crazy she's going over here because it's like they're winning, and we were winning till the last minute. But just, it's such a cool thing to do with that ultra wide that you can take inside there. So, I'd suggest, hey, if you're up for a new iPhone, who was it, Christine? You could go up north and drop your phone in the water and maybe get yourself a new iPhone. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
It's good idea. But the wide angle is impressive. Yes, Andrew, I agree with you. Very impressive. But,
Andy,
otherwise it's worked out real well, too. I mean, in all the other cases.
Andy, if you do a panel with the wide angle.
I do have one. I didn't show it because it gets really
weird.
like Inception, warp. Now, so Andy,
back in time as it wraps around.
Now that I know that, though, I've got a couple, and at first I didn't like it. So now I'm trying to think, if you hit the right set of buildings, there's a way to do this. So now I will try that. That's part of it. If I get into an even bigger city like a New York, I think I can really do some crazy stuff with the panel and then do a wide panel. So yes, you can, though, by the way. The only thing it doesn't have is in it, and I will tell you the other super impressive, I didn't show any, is the dark shots. What they're calling the dark, what the Pixel 3 could before outside when it's dark.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Where, the long exposures and that. Totally dark rooms. I was messing around with it at home. I mean, amazing we can do it. And it'll hold it there 3, 5, 6 seconds. I don't know. You said you saw it this weekend work like that. I saw it. I had one 6 seconds, and I couldn't tell any shake in it.
No, yeah, definitely, for sure. So it's funny because when we were up there one evening, once the day was done and everybody was kind of out on their own, Jerry, Mark, and I took off trying to find – what were we doing? Oh, we were trying to find steel wool so that we could do a steel wool spin, because that was something that we did on the workshop as well. So we went and found some steel wool. So here's what I'm doing right now. I'm actually just stalling so I can download just a couple of pictures really quick to show people. Let me just figure out where I'm going to put these. I'm just going to put them on my desktop really quick. Sorry about the wait here, folks. So I'm going to download a couple examples of like long exposure and a night shot as well, and then I can just share those with you guys. These are shots that Mark had taken with his iPhone 11. He didn't get the Max or whatever, but he just got
Pro or whatever. Yeah, my wife just got that. It's great.
Yeah,
I thought it was going to be a lot different. It seems like it's got all the same stuff, obviously outside the other lens.
Exactly, I think that it really does. So that's kind of, I think his rationale for it was that he didn't have to have the huge size or whatever. And let me just open these up in preview really quick. It'll just take a second. And there they are. So I'll just do a screen share now. Application window right there. Okay, so this is me spinning steel wool out at Miners Beach, and this shot with an iPhone.
Nice.
Mark was just standing back. He had helped people while I was standing out there for people to focus on me. He was getting people set up with, getting their focus set up and making sure everybody's settings were right. And then once I started spinning, he just held his phone up and took a shot. And you can actually see the Big Dipper in the top of the shot here. And I'm standing out on this rock point that was in some of the pictures earlier from Miners Beach. Then the next shot is this alley. He's shooting Jerry. We couldn't figure out what these green dots were because I was taking a photo of Mark when Mark was taking this photo, and I had the green dots. So all we can think of is that it's like the reflection of this Tivoli lights back here showing up in our shots. It's weird because either that or I think Jerry said it's a spirit or something.
Yeah, that or like he ate something that didn't agree with him.
Well, we had tacos that day, so there's always that. But this alley was actually it was really dark out. You'd be surprised how dark it was. And these Tivoli lights right there, were the only things that were left, lighting the whole thing up. So the phones are pretty impressive.
Yeah,
they're ridiculous.
Yeah,
I'm just waiting for some of that technology to trickle into regular cameras.
I agree. I mean, there's things in here that need to come on cameras, and even help us more. I think, and advance it even much further. So, and I know we're hitting 8:35 now, but I do want to say I do have one workshop that we just put out there, and this one's going to be with Derek Story from the Digital Story. It's next March 13th and 15th. It's in LA. So if you love LA, get out there. It's all street photography. Derek actually grew up and was from that area, so he's got a lot of awesome places. I know we'll hit Venice Beach, which is, you got to hit Venice Beach if you're going to go to LA.
Yep.
But we'll do a lot more than that, and a couple secret places. But we'll throw a link in the show notes. But it's also on the Nimble Photographer or the Digital Story, where you can sign up and come out there. We'll have a small group, and Derek and I have done 6 San Francisco workshops together. So a lot of fun working with him, and it'll be great to have everybody out there. And if you love LA, now's the time to go.
Very cool. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess that's it for this week's show. 2 weeks from now, stay tuned. Could be a crazy fun episode.
Yeah.
Never know. Never know what we got up our sleeves.
That's right.
Working on some fun stuff for the next show. So again, like always, stay tuned. And different than the other previous shows, I've been, always trying to work behind the scenes to make sure we get a gallery of the images that were shared up on our Facebook page. Half of the photos that I shared weren't mine. Yeah. So I'm not going to rush to put a gallery up for this show quite yet. So if you're an audio listener, tonight's show was probably really boring, and other than unless you like the way I talk. But I'm going to reach out to Andy and see if I can put his photos in that gallery as well for people to see. And if I get them up, then I'll probably put something out on social to let you know that you can swing over to our Facebook group and check out the photos from tonight's show. Until 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys later.
See you, everybody.
I always forget there's 2 end buttons on this new system. What are you going to do?
Is there a countdown?